Hi, what is up guys? Manic here, and welcome back to another video, or welcome to this video. I need to fix that intro, but we'll stick with it for now. Um, and today I decided I would go over which of the main factions you should side with in Fallout 4. Now the reason I'm making this video, and I know I made something similar, is because my video on like what gangs should you side with in Nuka World is getting up there in views, but so I figured that since already talked about like a DLC faction, I might as well talk about like the four main factions of the game in case some of you guys are like, okay, well I know who to side with during Nuka World, but who the fuck do I side with in the main game? So this is just my take on it, and I'm gonna go through each of these as like depending on your play style, or not really your play style, because I don't really know like what the play style would benefit for each, but I'll tell you like the benefits they have. Well, not benefits, because some of them offer more or better benefits than others, but maybe you like this faction because of how they do things. And yeah, so I'm gonna go over the benefits, or what each faction does, what they entail, what their goals are, and whatnot, and then that way you can get somewhat of an idea. And if needed, if there is a certain play style that could contribute very well to that the faction can contribute very well to, I will tell you what type and why. Not all of the four main factions will have something that benefits a play style, maybe, but I'll do my best in some way. So first, let's start off with my personal favorite, one of mine, and I know a lot of Fallout 4 fans are gonna watch this and be like, "You're fucking serious?" Yes, because we're gonna start off with the Railroad, my personal favorite faction. The Railroad have a goal of rescuing all synths from the Institute who want to be saved at least. There are some synths who work at the Institute who don't want to be saved. A lot of the scientists there who are synthetics don't really want to be saved, but there is a majority of people who are synths that do want to be saved and whatnot, so that is your goal. The only downside to the Railroad, I would say, is that aside from the fact that they are very limited on people, as well as, I want to say resources, but just like their goal is good, but their end game goal or their long term goal isn't really that good. If you're someone who cares more about the Commonwealth, then I would say the Railroad isn't really that good of a choice for you. But if you're someone who sees these synths as people as opposed to machines who replace people, then that is something I would suggest you go into, or just at least give a try. It's interesting, but considering the fact you spend 90% of the time doing when it comes to siding with the Railroad, just doing Institute missions, that can come off as pretty boring and lame, and like, why not just side with the Institute instead, you know? So yeah, there's that. And a certain play style I would say that would fit the Institute Railroad, or the Railroad Institute Railroad. The Railroad agent pretty well is if you're doing like a stealth character, because they are very like secretive and whatnot. So having to be sneaky from the shadows and whatnot seems pretty cool. At least that's how I play it. At least some people, to get a sort of Railroad feel, that could be something like a stealth character or whatnot. So there's that. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else before I move on to the other faction. So there is like one benefit to siding with the Railroad is that you get Ballistic Weave. Now, what is Ballistic Weave, you may be asking, if you're new at least. So Ballistic Weave is a armor type, or is an armor modification, I'll say, where you can add it to clothing that doesn't really have, where you can't really wear armor pieces, or at least much armor pieces. There are some armors that you can wear armor piece. There are certain pieces of clothing where you can wear armor pieces, like the red dress and sequin dress. You can only wear arm pieces. Or the greaser jacket and jeans, you can only wear leg pieces, and that's about it. Some companions actually have armors or clothing personalized for them that can be Ballistic Weave, like Piper, Hancock, and McCready. I think those are the Well, that and X688, but he wears a Corsair outfit, and well, the Corsair outfit is ballistic weavable. You can get that anywhere. But like Piper, Hancock, and McCready, if you travel with any of those three and you don't take them out of their usual outfits, like I don't do that with McCready because I barely play McCready, or Hancock because I never use Hancock. Then I would say that if you travel with like McCready, Hancock, and Piper, and you like their outfits, you could ballistic weave that, so they're a bit more protected. Especially Piper because her outfit just does like has like 5 energy resistance. But other than that, some people may say that that's a like a downgrade or a disbenefit, or some people may say like that's the only benefit of signing with the railroad. But I do think that personally there is more. Like at least you have like a steady flow of caps just by killing people, and I love to take advantage of my character's skills because again I play stealth, so missions like those really help out a lot. Um, not to say like the railroad is like the only time where um you can get caps, but their style as a whole is pretty cool. So yeah, next is the Minutemen. The Minutemen is a pretty shoddy one at best. If it's not the railroad that people hate or dislike, is probably the Minutemen is one that a lot of people within the Fallout 4 community probably don't like. I say probably because I don't pay attention to like the whole things of like what's your least favorite faction, even though everyone says it's the fucking railroad. Understandable, but whatever. And with the Minutemen, they're all about helping families, friends, and neighbors. That's what Piper says. Piper puts it best. She says that they are all about helping family, friends, and neighbors. And she says that sounds soft, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty good, cool thing to do. And it doesn't seem like much, but at least you get some experience when it comes to work. You you basically have what I consider like an almost like infinite supply of XP because it's very small, but it's pretty good. Small XP is better than no XP, right? What the fuck is that sound? Anyways, and yeah, this one is probably the most straightforward one ever because all you have to do is save a bunch of what is it? Where am I getting at? Settlements. I forgot the word. You can save a bunch of settlements, and then you retake their castle, and then after a while you can build the Institute teleporter. You can be denied, or you can be banished from the Institute, and then like the only enemy they ever make throughout this entire series that isn't dependent on you is the Institute, which means throughout the entire thing you could only destroy the Institute. I should have put up a spoiler warning, but I feel like this game is like 2 years old now. It's over 2 years old. I don't care about spoilers anymore. Whatever. And plus I feel like if you're playing this game already, you probably know a good majority of what happens. And yeah, what else am I getting at here? Okay, sorry, I'm all over the place. You'll have to forgive me a moment. All right, so retake the castle. Institute only enemy. Yeah. Also, another thing that's pretty interesting is if you make enemies with the Brotherhood of Steel, which I'll talk about them in a moment. Then you can blow up the ship that they come in, which is pretty cool. But that's only if you make enemies with the Brotherhood of Steel. You don't have to. But to get the peaceful ending, which means you only blow up the Institute, you have to work with the Brotherhood, the Railroad, and the Minutemen. But you have to blow up the Institute with the Minutemen. That's how you do it. I haven't gotten that ending yet. I want to, but it's just way too long for me to. It's way too much stuff for me to handle. It's way too long. There's all of that shit. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. But who knows? If that's something you guys want a video on, then I could absolutely try and get the peaceful ending with all three of the 3 of the 4 major factions. And yeah. You do get yeah. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to like make sure I talk about everything all at once. So let's move on to the Brotherhood of Steel, and then I can, if there's something I'm missing, I could always go back and be like, oh, there's also this, just so you guys can put into consideration. The Brotherhood of Steel is one of the two main bad evil factions, but when it comes to the Commonwealth, they are a good thing to talk about in the long run. Now, beforehand, before I made this video, I made a video talking about like why I think the Railroad is a good faction, and someone left a comment saying like I understand your reasoning, but if you think about it like this, and then we had a discussion about how the Brotherhood and the Institute is good in the long run because they have a long-term goal and whatnot. So there's that. And yeah, so with the Brotherhood of Steel, they are all about preserving technology and making sure that technology doesn't go too far, which is why whenever you join the Brotherhood of Steel, you'll notice that their elder is against super mutants, ghouls, and synths. Those are about the three main ones that they are against. Because super mutants, especially mostly in Fallout 4, were created by the Institute. Ghouls are just humans that were irradiated. And since, well, I don't need to talk about that, you know. I mean, that's just how it is. They're like they're 90% technology. They're 100% technology. Some of them are, or synthetics, as hence the name. The only downside I would say is later on in the mission. I'm not gonna describe the mission in case some of you guys are actually new and you guys don't want the entire game spoiled. But further on in the mission, close to like destroying the Institute with the Brotherhood of Steel, something does happen, and that's kind of the reason. If you guys have played the game, then you guys know what I'm talking about. It is the, how would I say this without spoiling it? It is the major quest line before that you have to do before you blow up the Institute. That's all I'm gonna say without like giving major spoilers. But if you played the game, then if you beat the game with Brotherhood of Steel, then you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't, then side with Brotherhood of Steel and you'll find out. Even though like the game is like 2 years old, and I'm like, I don't care about spoilers. Some people are sensitive about that, understandably enough. What else am I? So yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Some of the benefits of working with them could be that you trying to think. If you want power armor, I have no idea where I was going with that. My ADHD kicked in just then. If you are someone who uses power armor a lot, I would say they're a pretty good faction to have on your side, especially considering the fact that, well, considering not especially considering the fact that like you get T60 power armor, which is the second most powerful power armor in the entire game. Or it's considered the second greatest power armor in the game, or I guess protection wise the best, second best. Some people may say the T50 is better because it offers the best health damage or damage protection by using cheaper resources, and that's fine. But in terms of like damage protection, the T60 is the second greatest one that is offered over time. I have sided with the Brotherhood of Steel. They're pretty fun. The only downside is that I'm too nice of a person. And the Brotherhood of Steel is just is not good for people who are kind-hearted at heart. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, if you're someone who's more interested in like the Commonwealth's long-term plan of survivability, then the Brotherhood of Steel is gonna be one that bodes you over pretty nicely. I'm trying to think what other benefits. That's pretty much it. And yeah, so now we move on to the final one, which is the Institute. The Institute is another one of those where they're evil, but their long term goal is fine. Is pretty good. Not as good as the Brotherhood of Steel, I will admit, but compared to like the Brotherhood of Steel and the rail, or not the Brotherhood of Steel, the Minutemen and the Railroad, their long term goal is a bit um, or the long term goal for the Commonwealth is pretty set in stone. It's bound to work eventually. Um, and they're all about humanity first, mankind redefined, which makes no sense, but whatever. I mean, I get what they're trying to say. They're redefining mankind, but I don't know why you would do that. Um, and the only thing I can say about the Institute is that the best way that I can see it from someone who's a fucking idiot who doesn't understand like the long term goal of the Institute, because I barely side with them and I don't pay attention whatsoever, is that they replace humans who, or for the benefits of the Institute to a certain extent. Like for example, spoiler warning for this part. So I'll give you guys like a few. So I'm gonna talk slow so I can give you guys a few seconds to skip past a certain bit. So yeah, I think I've. If you beat the game with either the Brotherhood of Steel, the Railroad, or the Minutemen, at some point, and this will help you better if like you either if you have the Vault-Tec DLC or the Vault-Tec Workshop DLC and you have a VIP track on Piper, this will help you so you know when. But at some point after defeating the Institute, again siding with either of the three factions, there's a commotion in Diamond City that Mr. Sullivan got shot. And then if you do the whole quest of In Sheep's Clothing, you learn that Mayor McDonough was a synth the whole time. Make sure you bring Hancock along for some interesting dialogue. And then you learn later, or now that you know that Mayor McDonough is a synth, it kind of clicks in you that that they're using people like Mayor McDonough to spy on cities like Diamond City, just to see how they're benefiting and all that stuff, and whatnot. Trying to. So they replace they replace certain people to get the information that they want. Another good example is Warwick Dave. No, that's it. That's an actor. Sorry. Is during Warwick Homestead. I forgot the name. They killed off one of the members in the homestead and replaced him with the synth because he was a horrible father, first of all, and secondly, because of the fact that they needed like growing crops and whatnot for the benefit of the Institute. I'm not sure why. I don't know what the Institute had to gain, but the only problem I would say is that, like I mentioned before, they're for the benefit of the Institute as opposed to everyone in the Commonwealth. And the reason I say that is because they use the teleportation device whenever they need to recapture escaped synths from the railroad, which does benefit the Commonwealth rather than it benefits them, because if you talk to Desdemona when starting, or whenever you meet up with the railroad, you learn that their institute is using synths as like slaves and property and shit. So stuff like that is pretty it's something to look at. So I would kind of keep a long story short. Even though this video is almost 20 minutes long, I would say side with the Minutemen if you are just a kind-hearted person who's like who doesn't really care. I would say like it's not one of those like you can rush in entirely. Like I've I've wiped out the entire Nuka World Raiders before even doing the glowing seed, before even beating the game, just by simply doing Minutemen quests. So I would say if you're looking for like a more slow paced style of game, then something like the Minutemen is something that's pretty good to have because you don't need to rush in entirely. I guess all of them, well, except the Institute, because you're pretty. By the time you reach the Institute, you're pretty deep into the game, you know. What else? I would say side with the railroad. And just if you want, there's no real good benefits to it. That or if your character play style is more like that would fit in nicely with the railroad, then I'd say do that. Join the Brotherhood of Steel if you're looking for a more militaristic lifestyle, even though like you get that with like the railroad and the Minutemen, but they're more militaristic. Also, if you have played Fallout 3, then you would know of Liberty Prime. And he's in there also, or she. Cosmo says it's a she. So, and I say join the Institute if you want. There's no like real benefit to joining each of them. If there is, to be fair, I haven't played the game a whole lot. I've been playing like New Vegas, Fallout 3, Skyrim, and Mass Effect. I've been playing a lot of these games except Fallout 4. And if I do, I just stick with the Railroad because they're my favorites. It's about the only reason, really. But yeah, so just kind of keep that in mind. This is a horrible video. So I'm just going to end this here. If you guys did enjoy this video for some reason, make sure to leave a like. Leave a comment down below. For some of you new people, or not for some of you new people, for some of your experienced people, what like help me out here. What would be some benefits for work? Well, not benefits, but I'll just say benefits to like working with each of these factions. I would say like maybe Railroad is Ballistic Weave. Minutemen, if you're being like a Minuteman general, then endless caps. A lot more caps than needed, but whatever. And like the Brotherhood of Steel and Institute. If there's something I missed within this video, do let me know. I'll either pin your comment or like it, or give it a heart so that way other people can see it. And if you're new if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I make random videos. I usually say like gaming talk about gaming whatnot, but like my last videos disproves that entirely. If you do subscribe, hit that bell notification to be notified as when I upload because I don't really have a schedule. Lose the Manic out.